Didi as well. This bear will absolutely murder anything. Bears win games. Will it win this one? There's a glyph on Na'Vi. There's a buyback on the Wisp. Arrow not going to accomplish anything. In comes the bear. In comes S4. He's found Funnick. In comes the boat as well.
Disarm against the bear. He's not doing anything. Funnick survived the initiation. Havo
The
says,
bear.
I want the
rapier.
I want your Aegis. Thank you very much.
The Divine Rapier is now on Funnick, and Na'Vi are going to cut Alliance's head up down the middle lane. GG! They started this series off 0-1. They started this series off looking like they had no idea what they were doing. And yet here they are, leading 2-1. The defending International 1 champions fell short last year, but this year it might be their chance to return to their former glory.
Do we count on Na'Vi, or do we say 3-2 Na'Vi? Are they making a comeback, or will Alliance
We'll find out. And on that note, we throw it back to the analysts. Guys, Na'Vi's close. They can taste it.
Na'Vi then on match point, guys. It's pretty intense in terms of, I don't know how Alliance held on so long after their offensive tri-lane. I have to say, that offensive tri-lane in terms of the Mirana, Ogre Magi, and Lino is designed to get picks and kill and be aggressive, but you can't do anything against an Alchemist that has a Rubik and a Visage sat behind, and I almost felt it maybe was a mistake to even offensively ward the pulling spot, because you almost wanted Na'Vi to pull so they would separate it, and from there, the whole game was on the bear and the bat for Alliance.
I definitely agree. I'm surprised they, as you were saying, held on for this long. But every fight just turned out in Alliance's favor up until the fact, or the point where Na'Vi pushed in and took the middle Raxes. Here we see the fight at the top tower or the top Raxes, and Havos is just going at it. Look at how much damage it takes from them. When they go for the last set of Raxes on the bottom lane, he just tanks 3 heroes without even losing HP because of that Wisp. It's just ridiculous how much he can tank at the end, and maybe they should start considering banning out the Alchemist against him, because he seems way too strong for them to handle.
I mean, Alchemist is already a strong hero, and combine that with a Wisp, we haven't really seen it that often because Wisp is typically banned, but this is the big bad Havos, and he was unstoppable. I thought there were 3 key points that Alliance actually got a pretty good lead. One was a Roshan fight where
S4 came in.
Yeah, S4 came in, dragged Alchemist like up the hill. They had no way to save him. Even though he had a heart, he just was completely out of position there, and that is one of the strengths of Batrider. Also, Havos going heart first, I wasn't completely sold on idea. I think AC may have been a better choice. I thought that Alliance took a couple of team fights that they shouldn't have because of that heart. And then the trade on the top lane, they had Alliance actually got the T3 tower, and it was just a T2 trade. They got a T2 and a T3 for a T2, and I thought they could have pressured that because Alliance is just so good at split pushing. I thought they could try and avoid fights, but with the mobility of Wisp and with Havos just being ridiculously strong.
I actually think the heart was a great item choice, simply because the way to bring him down was through Ogre and Lina combos, and if he just had the HP to survive their spell combo, there was no way they could bring him down, because Potom didn't really do much damage at the time being, so the heart was just an overall great item choice. We saw them trying to gank him on the top rune at the ancient spot, and they didn't deal any damage to him whatsoever, and Lina and Ogre died, and they just pushed on middle lane instead.
I mean, normally with a heart, you don't consider the Alchemist to have very much effective HP out of it just because of how low armor, but the heart was done, and just like literally straight after you had a plate mail. So in terms, I think it actually kind of did work out in a way for him, that heart pickup. Bruno, what did you make of the match?
Well, this is not the first time Alliance tried to run this Ogre Magi and Lone Druid combo. It actually works very well for them in general. They are 6-1 before this game, now they're 6-2. The whole idea of this lineup is of course trying to get overpowered when it gets to late game, and that bear becomes super threatening because all of your Raxes melt immediately. Now, one of the reasons why maybe it didn't work, it was not because of the bear in particular.
It was the Batrider, man. The Batrider, okay, you do it.
No, please. No, please.
As far as I could tell, there was too much pressure on S4 to actually get the picks. You saw when he got a good pick, they got a kill over by Roshan. And after that, Kurokai was picking him up if he had the potential chance, but it was also the Wisp Tether stun. There were a few times when that S4 went in and just couldn't pull what he wanted, or he got picked off. And him getting getting picked off twice, I think it was, twice in a row.
Maybe
That
even
kind
3
of led
times, I think.
Na'Vi to be able to get the racks. But Bruno, you can prove me wrong.
No,
This is my
no.
opinion.
It's perfect because you worded that and you served it perfectly to me. This strategy of the Lone Druid and Ogre Magi actually is a very good strategy. It's been tried 19 times and it has a 58% win rate, which is more than acceptable. But when it's played with the Bad Rider, 0%. It's 0-4. It never works for some reason. Maybe it's all about the Bad Rider being pressure, maybe it's just coincidence. But I think you're perfectly right when you said used all the pressure on this guy. And there's also, let's not forget about not the primary carries of the game, which were the Lone Druid and the Alchemist, but also Funnick on the Mirana, and Funnick on the Razor and Loda on the Mirana. Because Loda at this time was not playing the main carry, he was a secondary role. And these two guys, they had some responsibility as well. Mirana had to land their arrows, and Funnick had to make sure that the static link worked perfectly so that at least the Druid becomes a non-factor or someone on the other team becomes a non-factor. And I think the different performance of these two heroes made the difference in the end because Razor just got a little bit more than what Loda could get in the Mirana.
Yeah. And also, if you look at Loda's start in that tri-lane, no farm whatsoever. There was no farm available. Havos was playing amazing. He just, deny-wise and just kept him out the lane, and the Ogre Magi and Lina just didn't really know what to do. And the trouble is, when you've got those two heroes, Ogre Magi and Lina, in an offensive tri-lane, how do you rotate without being obvious? You can't smoke and go to mid. It's like, well, they're missing, and it's like, you can't do anything with them, so you have to make that tri-lane work, and they fell behind pretty early. But I was impressed. Admiral Bulldog had a great time mid. S4 did do well top, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. But not to say that, Alliance were the guys under pressure making mistakes. Na'Vi as well. I think they could have taken the mid racks a little bit sooner. There was a point where they were chasing Admiral Bulldog instead of just going straight on to the racks.
Definitely, they didn't really have their eyes on the prize, but if there's anything this series shows, it's that aggressive tri-lane just doesn't seem to work out for these teams. The other team is simply too good at countering and just optimizing their lane against it. We saw it in the first game where they didn't do anything at all with their tri-lane, and Na'Vi just got completely humiliated by Alliance. And now in this game, the game was a lot closer, but the tri-lane definitely lost big time.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because Na'Vi have banned out Naga Siren both games, I believe. The two bans are Naga Siren and is it a Chen who's being?
Chen and Naga Siren from Na'Vi.
They're banning them out all the time, and I think it's crucial that Alliance are able to get some supports that are able to kind of contribute in mid-game and support the carries, the mid, and the off-lane a little bit better. What do you think they should consider, Ben, into the drafting phase?
I'm not really sure. Most of the times it seems like they get one really key hero for them, whether it be Bat Rider for S4, which didn't actually work out too well, or EGM on the Naga Siren. I think those are really crucial, or Aki on the Chen. We've talked about the support players of Alliance and how deep of a team they are, and I don't want to say that the supports aren't pulling their weight, they just aren't making as much of an impact as they usually are.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
It's just a question. Do you think it's maybe time for S4 Magnus, the hero he became really, really popular for?
I think it depends. I think it might be too ulti dependent. I think one of the games earlier was just like they had Tidehunter and Bane, and then whenever those two ultimates weren't up, they just completely got taken advantage of. I think they may run into that problem. It really depends on what Navi's playstyle is. But they've been picking Wisp. They've been picking pretty low ultimate cooldowns and just bringing all the pressure. I don't think Magnus fares so well against that.
I don't want to say that Alliance isn't a diverse team in terms of strategies, but it seems to me as if they don't stick to this one distinct playstyle, they have a lot of weak points, and Na'Vi is definitely taking advantage of that right now. We've seen two lineups from Alliance come out, and none of them is something we've seen a lot of earlier in the tournament. We've always seen this typical style of play where EGM and Arcane especially has been sitting on the same rotation of support heroes. Suddenly in a grand final for $1.4 million we see Ogre and Lina being picked up, or we see them running a Spectral lineup. I think they need to stick to their guns and just admit that they're best with Cuddle PL or a farming anti-mage, or when they have that Gyrocopter in conjunction with the Chen. They need to just stick to their best strategies right now.
One extra question for all of you. International 1, the finals were IG versus Na'Vi. Na'Vi had one game advantage, but IG won one game, and Na'Vi brings the patch. Then International 2, Na'Vi was on the rope. They tried to bring the Nyx, a pick that was not at all existing at the moment. Do you think it's time for Alliance being on the ropes to do the same and maybe bring something, hopefully Spirit Breaker, but something different, something just to try and break the metagame, or just stick to your rules?
It didn't work for Na'Vi last year, and I don't think it's going to work for Alliance this time. They, as boring as it may sound, they need to just do what they're good at and play their own
The
strategies
3 games that
and
they
play
won was just the same thing that it was on the 2-0 in the upper bracket, and then the first game it was just their own typical strat. And I think Puppey may have figured them out with the Banzo. Without the Chen, and without the Naga Siren, Alliance just doesn't seem as strong as they usually are.
Yeah, because you said Alliance seem to have a lot of weaknesses right now in their game. It's not that they're, of course, weak. It's just that Puppey, I feel, has really kind of figured them out a little bit more. So they've had about 10 minutes between game 3 going into game 4. It seems like they're ready. So, guys, we can do a prediction. Do you think it's Na'Vi going to take this? They're on match point, or Alliance? Can they bounce back? Because they're capable, but are they going to figure it out?
I think Alliance is going to take this game. At this point, there's so much on the line, and these guys, if anything, have proven that they're very calm and collected. So when I said that Na'Vi had heart and they were super emotional, Alliance is the brain, and they will focus and just get a proper draft this time and win the game.
I think if Alliance can't get Chen or Enchantress right now, they're going to get either Wisp or Visage, and that's going to lead them to victory, because they just need one solid support to win the game.
Yeah, I'm with Milk on this one. I'm going to pick Alliance. My rares are on them. That's all that matters.
All right, well, rares, or, of course, you could win $1.4 million. Either way, we're going back into the next game. Na'Vi are on match point. Are they able to close it up in this game, or will Alliance tie us up? We'll find out in just a moment as we go back to the tournament floor.
Alliance versus 2011 international champions, Na'Vi.
Navi's
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 4 of the international number 3. What could be the final match of this entire tournament? Na'Vi is on match point.
The Alliance on the back foot. They started off hot, 1-0. They won that game before the 20-minute mark, yet in games 2 and 3, Na'Vi had all the answers. The winner of this set takes home $1.4 million. And right now, for me, Lumi, it's been the match of the Wisp, because every game we seem to see something different. Na'Vi's giving away the Wisp. Alliance is giving away the Wisp. And here we go. This time around, the Alliance get it with the first pick.
Yeah, the bans of games 2 through 4 so far has been exactly the same. Na'Vi says, don't want to deal with Chen, don't want to deal with Naga Siren, and Lion says, we don't want to play against Havosa's Lifestealer, of course, not against the Darkseer either. So both teams is throwing OP stuff against each other, and a lot of it is sticking on the wall.
Yeah, they've been banning out the supports, and I mean, it's been effective so far. Yeah. Removing the junglers, removing EGM's go-to heroes. Now, he can, of course, play Windrunner, but generally when he's on Windrunner, they like to put Ake on Chen or Enchantress. So
look at this bans. 4 supports being banned out. Have we seen anything like this in the past?
I mean, I think this is the kind of strategy that works well against Orange Esports as well, because to me, Alliance and Orange are very similar in the respect that they both have incredible support duos. Extinct and Net, and then you've got Ake and EGM. And these teams, sure, they might not rack up the kills in every game, but we see the importance of the supports, and it's been a tournament about supports. Yeah. We're seeing that again here. And now, Na'Vi get a Dendi Puck. So it looks like a Funnick Batrider, a Havost Alchemist, a Dendi Puck. It seems pretty clear how they want to play these. They don't have any supports. Alliance, a Wisp, a Prophet. We know the Wisp should be going to one of those 2 supports. We know the Prophet's going to be going to Admiral Bulldog. What's Loda going to play? What's S4 going to play?
Again, these 2 players are so versatile that you don't have to worry about it so much right now. I think what Lions need to figure out is their central strategy, predict the lanes coming from Na'Vi, and hopefully counter from there. But I mean, what we saw out of Lions last game, and to me, last game was a big lesson for all of us, why they could comfortably leave Wisp in the draft. Their supports were never caught out, always in the fogs, never got picked off a relocate. We saw over 6-7 minutes where a single relocate wasn't even used because then they did not see anybody. So for this game, we gotta ask the question to Na'Vi: are they as vigilant? Are they gonna get picked off by relocate? Because we know Alliance is gonna come out guns blazing, looking for kills.
Yeah, in theory, Wisp Prophet is incredible late game. It's very hard to play against, but if you weather the storm and you don't get picked off, you look at what these heroes actually bring you, and they're squishy. They don't have much team fight directly. They more rely on their allies to set things up. So it puts a lot of pressure on S4. And if Na'Vi do dodge those ganks, if the relocates aren't coming, if Bulldog isn't able to apply a lot of split push, if he's getting caught by lassos, if they don't get off to a hot start, if they're not finding many kills, I mean, ultimately Na'Vi's got the much better 5-man, the much better death ball right now.
Yeah, and also, you were talking about supports. What about Kuroki's play last game on
That
the
Rubik.
I mean,
he didn't even have a blink dagger, and he's still using the lasso.
He was literally like a bat rider for the team, right? Just blink in, lift, toss back, and suddenly that hero just died.
Yeah, when he stole lasso, he was Bat Rider.
Right,
When he didn't steal lasso, he just blinks and he lifts. And he set up like 3 or 4 kills in a row, which won them the game. Immaculate support play. He had virtually no farm that game, which I was even mentioning in the cast is very unusual for him. But the Alliance now, they'll go to their staple. We saw it in game 1. It's when they get Wisp, they really like this Gyro. Great team fight carry, great BKB carrier, and against Na'Vi, you need BKB.
Yeah, actually, I think Gyro and Wisp work quite well together. We saw Loda in game 1 using the exact same synergy, and obviously right back to Kuroki's Rubik. But Gyrocopter is one of those carry heroes early on that could dish out a ton of damage, but he doesn't necessarily get into the fight, right? You have to teleport there, and by the time that he gets there, he doesn't have a good cooldown drop on. But when you are in the middle and thick of things, and when you have things like damage block from Overcharge Wisp, when you have attack speed increase from Overcharge Wisp, you are going crazy with your flat cannons, rocket barrage, and cooldown, obviously.
So I'm really starting to wonder what S4 is going to play. I mean, you mentioned he's a very versatile player. We used to see the son of Magnus playing that Magnus quite a bit. But, I mean, Magnus doesn't match up well against Bat. They're not going to go for his hero. Now they go for the Crystal Maiden for Ake. So you've got an EGM Wisp and Ake Crystal Maiden. I want to know what S4 is going to play, because if they go Mag, which seems like the most common alliance here we've seen, he's not going to do well against Bat, he's not going to do particularly well against Puck, and he could get picked off early. And if you go Mag versus Rubik, you're asking for Kuroki to steal RP. And if he doesn't go Mag, then what does he go? I mean, Dragon Knight, Beastmaster, these heroes are going to lose the lane to Na'Vi.
There is OD still in the pool, and OD just absolutely shuts down
But it's
Puck.
so much. It's not an S4 hero. Like,
Exactly.
we don't see him play it
That's
at all.
right. I mean, it's not yet Puck. It's not a Queen of Pain. It's not a mobile hero that has a huge impact on the team fight. All he does is perhaps Astral somebody or Force Staff somebody. So it's not an S4 hero, but in the sense...
I'm leaning towards the Mag, but I just feel like Na'Vi have the answers for it.
Yeah, well,
Clockwork would have
yeah.
been the other one, and it's banned.
And it's not here anymore. So yeah, it begs the question: what will S4 play? He is generally like when Alliance win games, a lot of times it's through S4 kind of facilitating the team fight. He to me is kind of like the Xiao A of the West. He really direct how the battle goes. He's very survivable on the front line, but you got to give him a hero that allows him to do that.
Now Alliance will wait on Na'Vi's final pick of the draft. They've got a lot of signatures here. Funnick Bat Rider haven't seen as much, but certainly have seen it in the past. The Puck mid for Dendi, one of his very best heroes. Alchemist for Havost has been the go-to. They get it again.
10 seconds
So now
remaining.
everything's been set except, well, this last support. Puppey has Enigma denied to him.
seconds remaining.
What's plan B?
I think right now, if you're looking against Alliance, despite the fact that they have a Wisp, you have to respect the power or the threat of a offensive tri-lane. Gyrocopter, Crystal Maiden, and Wisp has what it takes to kind of blow things open on that offensive try. So I think you pick up a sort of a defensive support.
There is a twin-headed dragon. Normally when Na'Vi go for it, it's with a Darkseer, so not entirely sure what the choice would be. I mean, if they want to go really defensive, there's things like Shadow Demon, but generally Shadow Demon and Rubik don't work well together. They're both setup heroes. They don't have much damage. So Na'Vi really waiting on that last pick.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Now, Puppey does have a wide range of jungle heroes. We see him go Lycan
But
jungle in the past.
they're all banned. Like, he banned most of them. He banned the Chen.
No, not the standard one. I'm talking like out there jungle heroes, like Lycanthrope jungle. We've seen him jungle Shadow Demon in the past. So if he feels like his lane is okay, maybe he wants to get a little bit greedy.
I think that's too greedy versus Alliance, because they will punish that.
yeah.
They've got, like you said, the great aggressive tri-lane. I think, like you said, he needs a safe, stable laning support. Jakiro's an option. I mean, Alina's decent with Rubik, Leshrac if they want to push the tower early. If he goes for something greedy, that's something Alliance could just pick apart.
Any possibility where S4 just says, Dendi, I saw you go Wisp last game mid. I'm going to take you right back in the same lane.
A slight possibility, I suppose. I just feel like that means that Alliance really is too reliant on ganking. Like, if they go Wisp mid, then they're probably getting another support,
10
and that puts so
seconds
much
remaining.
pressure on their ganks, because as good of a carry as Gyro is and Prophet, well, Bane's the choice. There you go.
Yeah.
Safe, stable, defensive
Alliance's
support.
turn
They
to
are
pick.
lacking AoE from these supports, and they both are highly dependent on level 6, but it'll be hard to find a kill in this tri-lane. Either Rubik or Bane can help you to disengage.
I mean, keep in mind that Rubik does give you AoE in the sense of Fable. As more importantly, you can still easily Nova. You can easily steal Call Down. There's a ton of great spells that you can kind of
But he
pick at.
needs the levels.
Right.
And that could be dangerous against Crystal Maiden.
Yeah, it depends on how the lanes lined up. I mean, if Na'Vi gets a defensive tri-lane that is uncontested,
10
you know
seconds
Havost is going to
remaining.
get insane farm. You know that Rubik as well as Bane's going to get a little bit of jungle farm
5
as well.
seconds
I
remaining.
really like to see Alliance go back to their standard, kind of your ancient stacking, just slow it down, use the efficiency of the jungle, and the fact that they are so on top of every single pool and stack, and just
10
slowly
seconds
beat
remaining.
Na'Vi.
And it's a Night Stalker. There's your tempo controller. There's your aggressive solo mid. A great ganker. Very hard to kill. The silence fantastic against Puck. Batrider as well. BKBs are now essential for Na'Vi or Eul Scepter, at least for Dendi. And game 4 is about to get underway. Na'Vi dropped game 1, took 2 in a row. They now find themselves 1 win away from $1.4 million. Alliance, well, they'll have to battle back. They got to win 2 in a row.
Can they win 2 in a row? Your thoughts?
Absolutely. They definitely can. You win this game, you go into the final match point with the momentum, with the advantage, and with the confidence to
But
take
right
the
now,
series.
Na'Vi has all of that because it's their match point. They have a very, very stable draft. They have great heroes. They have Batrider, who, I mean, has been on and off depending who's been
5
playing what, but he's
seconds
still a
remaining.
huge hero. I think we're going to have to look towards EGM and see what kind of impact he's going to have in this game.
EGM on the Wisp. Game 4 now underway. Here we go. Na'Vi so close. They can taste it. They can smell it. But they have not yet secured that Aegis for themselves. And on we go to introduce the players. S4 on the Alliance. The captain, the drafter. Heading towards mid is the Night Stalker. Rushing the bottle. Ake, support Crystal Maiden. Alliance, they've been denied in the aggressive tri-lane in the past. They won't go for it here. They'll go defensive. Loda on the gyro. EGM, your support Wisp. Bulldog, the Nature's Prophet. And on the Radiant side, Na'Vi, a lot of momentum riding on them for right now. Havos, your Alchemist. Funnick, your Jungle Batrider perhaps. Dendi can be playing the Puck. Kuroki on the Rubik, that puts Puppey onto the Bane. We'll have to see where Na'Vi go, but it looks like both teams want to go defensive, so expect a very fat Alchemist right now.
Yeah, at the same time, though, keep in mind that the way that Admiral Bulldog likes to play on the spot lane is send a couple of Treants, block the 2 camps early on,
30
block the second
seconds
spawn
to
of that
battle.
camp by 1 minute, and then go back to the jungle. So I think Kuroki as well as Puppey is going to have a little bit of time, a little bit of difficult time finding early levels.
Yeah, and these are 2 very level-dependent supports. Bane, Rubik, they need level 6 a lot more than other heroes like Shadow Demon, Earthshaker, Jakiro, who is somewhat level-dependent, but they still offer you AoE. They still offer you a lot of control with minimal levels. So if Bulldog is able to slow them down early, it could really limit their ability to impact the mid-game, put more pressure on the carries. And now Bulldog, he's going for his very standard build. Gloves of Haste, double clarity. He'll send his first 2 Treants into the jungle, 1 each direction, and then he'll simply look to block the camp. He'll do this again before the 1-minute spawn, and then, since at that point the camps only spawn once every minute instead of 30 seconds in a row, he'll head into the jungle and he'll rush the Midas.
Yeah, Funnick's going to be jungling, as you said, and they do not want any camps to be blocked off, but these Treants are being really, really annoying.
Yeah, he'll send 1 to block the camp, he'll send 1 to pull the lane back. So the lane is going to push a little bit, at least for now. The camp is blocked. This camp, however, is not. And Funnick's jungling is not going to be denied, so he's slowing down the supports, but Funnick should have an easy time of it.
Yeah, Emerald Bulldog's one of the best players. You can do these like jungle shenanigans, and so far he is effective. Look at this creep wave with 8 creeps. It is slowly going to push in against Emerald Bulldog eventually.
Yeah, he'll be resummoning Treants in just a second, 50 seconds in. He may actually miss the second block, though. No, he should
he's
just
got
get
it,
it in
yeah.
time. Puppey can't sleep on both. So this camp has been blocked twice, and generally he goes right back into the jungle now, and that's what we're going to see. No, staying up the tower.
He knows a big creep wave is coming. He
and
knows.
and Na'Vi have had enough already.
Right.
They're going for him.
This is actually very smart because you know that's going to be 8 creep on the tower, and it's going to be a very, very easy dive. So you have things like Nightmare, you have things like Lift to set it up, and let's see if Admiral Bulldog senses it coming. They don't have ward, they don't have vision. Oh, he's going to go check.
Early boots for Havost. He's got to push this wave in. Doesn't have acid spray.
These Treants are coming up the hill. They will see the Na'Vi supports. Just expert micro. He knows. He knows what Na'Vi wants to do against him.
Yeah, he scouts them out. He'll back off. Bulldog playing cat and mouse here. So the trades elsewhere. It's a free farm. Alchemist, maxing Greevil's Greed for Havost. Not rushing the Midas fully, though. When Loda rushes it, he skips Boots. Havost going for the more aggressive killing build. Might be able to run Bulldog down, but right now, Bulldog very defensive. He's getting experience off this lane.
Yeah.
You compare that to Funnick, he's not, but he is farming faster. He'll stack the jungle, he'll rush the Blink, so a very different approach from these 2 offlaners.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a tower damage on tier 1, but it's not going to be significant in any sense. Havost struggling to find a little bit of farm as, well, you're kind of between 2 towers, so in fact, he's being harassed here by
Yeah, he's
Admiral.
taking tower shots as well. We'll have to wait for this next
Nice
wave.
tonight, yeah.
From both directions, the tower's really working against him. He has a South here. He'll be okay, but he's being forced to use his regen early. Meanwhile, top lane, you're getting Wisp a lot of levels. EGM already hitting 2. so his level's not being denied. And actually, I think overall, I give Alliance a slight edge here, because if you have underleveled supports against Wisp, I mean, we know what happens. They just melt.
Well, the thing is, if you see them, right? Again, last game from Alliance, they dodged most of the relocate gank. Let's see if Na'Vi support's going to do the same. Back in the mid lane, it's a lane that we haven't really talked about too much. It's going to be, ooh, Heroku's here.
Looking for a kill, but S4, Night Stalker, one of the hardest heroes to gank. He's got incredibly high base armor, already 6 and a lot of HP. Not going to be an easy nut to crack. They'll go in now, though. They hit him. Bunnick's coming as well. Could be a first blood to Na'Vi. S4 falling fast. Not going to have a fast start. He is going to drop. Na'Vi, once again, a first blood going their way.
And it's always on the mid lane here.
And they force a Bulldog TP. That's pretty huge.
Well, he's going to get a ton of EXP on the mid lane, so he should be okay. But I really like what Navi's been doing in this entire series. They just have a vendetta against S4 saying, we know you're a great player, we know you can facilitate it in teamfight in the mid game, but we'll shut you down hard. Remember the first game on Beastmaster? 0-5-0. They have made so many ganks against S4, and this game, it's the exact same thing. S4 not getting too much done here, so far at least.
S4 is so accustomed as of late to playing these tempo controllers mid that dominate the lane. The Puck, the Batrider. Lately in this series, we've seen him on the Beastmaster, we've seen him on the Night Stalker, we've seen him on heroes that aren't really as good at winning the lane, and Na'Vi are not only recognizing that and punishing him, but in terms of winning the lane, because Denny was already winning the lane, but they're also ganking him a lot, so it's really a two-pronged assault. Ban out the supports and gank S4, and on the back of that, already gold experience, I mean, it could be much farther in Alliance's favor, but instead it's pretty close.
Yeah, again, Na'Vi has made the adjustment in this series. They have changed up the picks and bans, they have targeted different players, and Alliance need to answer. So far they are doing the absolute standard, and it seems like the standard game is not good enough.
So far, S4 though does have his basic items. He's farming okay. He's got Bottle, Magic Wand. The tier 1 mid did fall earlier, so he got some gold and gold off of that. And ultimately, Night Stalker isn't as item dependent as other heroes. Night Stalker doesn't really need a Blink Dagger. He doesn't need big items to initiate. And he can still have an impact simply by running around and threatening to gank. Remember, they do have relocate. They've got the global lineup. Here we go mid.
3 or 4-man gank. All you need is a Dream Coil. Ooh, Orb's going to be used.
Oh, they can't get in range yet. 4 heroes. Ooh, that's some hate on S4.
They actually lift him, toss him back. No Nightmare, nothing. TPC's being coming from Wisp, and they'll back off.
Yeah, now they'll tether up. EGM ushering them away, slapping down Dendi with some orbs. A lot of deaths, and, well, Alliance have the Wisp, so I suppose they should feel pretty good.
So should we go to game 5 now, or?
I think we'll play it out, Lumi.
Okay.
I think we'll play it out.
Fair enough. One thing to point out here is Loda's skill build. If you can see that he's actually maxing Rocket Barrage, and that goes back to the playstyle of Wisp and Gyrocopter. He knows he's going to be in the middle of the fight. Back in the mid lane though, Dendi dropping low, but he should be okay. But yeah, Gyrocopter, he knows he's going to be in the middle of the team fight. He knows his magical damage is going to be intense, so that's a spell that you definitely do want to max when you have Gyrocopter in team.
Havost is free farming. Havost is up to 2k gold. We've seen him normally, he likes the treads into straight Shadow Blade. He's been opting to skip the Midas most games. If he wanted a Midas, he'd already have it, so we'll just have to wait and see what he goes for. There is always that Battle Fury build, but against such an aggressive ganking lineup, it seems pretty greedy.
Yeah, maybe you think he's straight rushing a BKB? That seems like overly defensive for Havost.
Yeah, I don't think so. If he wants to go for that, I imagine he'll stop off with the treads, the phase boots, and to me, it's most likely a Shadow Blade, but just it's interesting to see that he's holding on to his gold. Seems like he wants to keep his options open and isn't really sure what kind of game we have in front of us yet.
Well, at the same time, Dendi has been pretty active on the bottle crawling on the mid lane, so maybe he just haven't picked it up. But we'll see exactly how it's going to go. But it's nighttime now, so Night Stalker, it is his time to shine. The first Nightfall, it is so important for the NS. And we'll see whether he's going to get his moves.
Yeah, you can already see Night Stalker at the end of the nighttime, as you might expect, has superpowers, right? He's got great vision, whereas a lot of other heroes can barely see at night. So S4 will see you, and you might not see him coming. No one on Na'Vi, well, actually Puck, I believe, does have pretty good night vision, but overall, S4 could get the jump here. One way to deal with the Night Stalker, though, is simply to group. If you're all together, then there's no one to gank, and he can't do much to stop pushes. He's not particularly dangerous with farm compared to other mids, so Na'Vi, they'll say, great, you pick Night Stalker. Come stop our push now. Good luck with that. The tier 1 falls bottom. Na'Vi, first blood, second tower, and now, well, gold. Got it heading their way. Experience, though, still very much in Alliance's favor.
Despite the fact that Na'Vi has pushed down tier 1 tower, keep in mind that they're doing it with 4 or 5 heroes on the bot lane. Meanwhile, up top here, we see Loda pushing in. Meanwhile, mid lane, we see S4 pressuring the tower. So, despite losing at tier 1, I think Alliance is actually ahead. But if they successfully get this tier 2 without spending too much time, then all of what I said goes out the window.
Bunnick now using Firefly to clear out the creep wave. Na'Vi continuing to keep the pressure up here. And for the time being, S4
Dire's
sitting
bottom
back. He's
tower
rotating
is
into the
under
lane.
attack.
We'll see some additional support coming soon. It's coming from Ake. He's
Radiant's
jumping in,
middle
looking to
tower
go. He's
is
got a
under
Nova.
attack.
Not cast it
nice
yet.
stalker.
S4 on the prowl, but lifted up, thrown in. Coil as well. Here's your call down. Loda unloading the damage. 2 to fall. Make it 3. Out.